Hey everyone, back with a new project. What we got here is a bumper for an ambulance. I haven't built any of this. This is what I've got. I brought this here from my new job. We work on ambulances. We customize them for the customer specifications. It's a company called Northeastern Rescue Vehicles here out of Syracuse, New York. And they're a dealer for ambulances, but because ambulances are a custom thing for the customers, everybody wants a little bit different. We modify the ambulances to suit their needs. We got a customer coming in that needs a new rear bumper on their ambulance, and my boss had this old bumper that they had fabricated by a local welder for another ambulance that never got used. And he asked if I could modify it to work with that, and I told him absolutely. So I brought all the pieces home. I've done a little bit of work already. These are the end caps for the bumpers, okay? Basically, this is the top of the bumper you're looking at here. This right here is the step that will flip up. It's going to have hinges on it. The end caps sit there, okay? These end caps were quite a bit longer, and I took my jigsaw and I cut them, took them back to work because we have a box press brake, or not press brake, but a box brake. Bent that back down. I'm going to be using my Everlast PowerTIG 210 EXT to weld this up. Obviously these are aluminum, and to finish those off. But first and foremost, this is what I need to do with this bumper. I'm going to be using my Everlast PowerPlasma 50 to cut this angle on both ends. Then I'm going to be using this, this looks like 1/8 inch plate, and I'm going to be capping that. Okay, this is not going to be a structural thing. You know, this looks to be 1/4 inch by 2 inch by 3 inch. Plenty strong enough. I'm just capping it off to seal it up. Okay, I'm going to take the other piece and cap off the other side. There's that. The reason why I'm mitering that corner is because the corner caps are mitered, and for me to get them to sit where they need to, I need to do that. The other big part of this bumper is the distance from here to the distance from here is too long. That needs to be 34 inches, so I'm going to have to cut out a center section out of the center of this and then bring it back together at the distance that it needs to be. However, the distance between here and that other side is just fine. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut this here, here, there, and there, remove this upper section, narrow this upper section, and then weld it back onto the actual bumper, the exposed bumper side. Okay, so I've got this top section cut off. You see, it looks pretty nasty. That's okay. This is normal. It's something you guys should expect. I'm cutting out the welds. I'm trying not to damage this tube, and I'm trying to leave enough meat on this where it's not going to change my measurements too much. Once I cut the center section out of this, the locations where this and this, these 4 points, weld to this is going to change. They're going to be moved in. Okay, so a big concern of mine was to make sure I don't damage this bottom tubing too much. So I'm going to come through here and knock off all the dross. Then I'm going to use a flap disc on my angle grinder and clean all this up. If there's any gouging or anything done like that in here, I'm going to take my Everlast i-mig 200 and I'm going to weld in those imperfections and use the flap disc again to grind all of that smooth so it looks like there was never an issue there. Okay? Same thing with this. I'm going to, knock off all the dross, grind out all smooth, make a nice clean fit so that when it comes back to putting it back on here, that everything is nice and clean, the edges are all good, and it doesn't look like I had just hacked this apart. Okay? So, I've got these areas ground down. All the high spots. You can see here what I was talking about. There's some gouging going on in here from the plasma cutter because I had to cut at different angles. So I'm going to come back through with the poweri-mig 200, the Everlast poweri-mig 200, and just hit those things and fill that metal up. Especially like right here where you got the angled groove. And just in these few places here. Okay? Okay, so got all this stuff welded and ground down. Got this welded and ground smooth. One thing I wanted to talk about, when you're joining two pieces of tubing together, in this situation it's not too critical, but ideally what you would do is you would sleeve it. Okay, what sleeving means is that you're going to find a smaller piece of tubing to slide inside. You drill maybe 4 holes, plug weld, all 4, and then you would bevel these edges where the two tubes slide together. So you would have, let's say this was the sleeve, this would be sitting inside there. With this particular situation, strength is critical, but it's not as critical as like let's say a roll cage or something like that. So what I ended up doing is beveling the edge. See here how this is just a slight bevel? This will focus. That's not good enough. The goal is to get full penetration. So you're going to want to bevel about a 45-degree angle all the way to the edge here. On all 4 sides. On both this side and this side of the weld joint. Then you're going to want to make sure your welder is up hot enough where it's going to get full penetration and soak into there. The reason being is that the goal behind it is to maintain the thickness of the tubing. Now this is 1/8 inch tubing. And I know I said that there was some 1/4 inch. This 2x3 is 3/4. Not 3/4. It's 1/4 inch wall. The rest of this stuff is 1/8 inch. So anyway, the goal is to have that weld joint to be 1/8 inch, the same as the metal. So you're going to bevel that out so that it fills in that valley. Okay? I don't know if I have a piece of chalk laying around, but I think you get it. Anyway, you're going to want to make sure you do that. That's good practice to do anyways, but do that, then you can ground down your weld. If you just have 2 butt joints going together, and there's no bevel there, what's going to happen is either you're, number one, going to have your welder turned up really high to make sure it penetrates, and it's still not going to probably penetrate all the way through. You're probably not going to get 100% penetration. You might actually even only get like 50% penetration. So you turned your 1/8 inch wall into like a 16th of an inch wall right in the weld joint because you ground down the weld. So if you bevel it out and fill in that valley, then you're more apt to get your full 1/8 inch. So anyway, hope that made sense. This is all done here I'm not going to weld this to that section just yet, and the reason I'm not going to is because I'm going to have to drill holes in this and tap them for the hinge, and it's going to be a lot easier to do on my drill press over here. So if I don't have this attached to it, then I can do this on my drill press a lot easier than if I had this on there, then it would be a nightmare. So okay, so it cut real easy. Not the prettiest looking cuts in the world. Let's get this pointed in the direction where you can see it better. A little bit jagged, nothing a file couldn't clean up real good, or flap disc. Cut it like butter though. Could have probably went at a faster pace. So, anyways, be back. So we're basically done. What I didn't show you was I had tapped and screwed those already. I attached the angle iron. I'll show you on this other side how I did that. Tapped in here. I know these are offset. The reason why they're offset is because, let me show you real quick. I just put a plate here, and I'll explain that in just a minute. I needed to keep the screws off of the diamond plate type thing. So, because I needed to keep those screws out of there, I needed to kind of offset them a little bit. So, as you saw also, I capped the ends. Everything's all welded up. The way this works is these screws will hold the end caps, and then when I get to work tomorrow, I'm going to drill a couple holes here and here, and then from the inside I'm going to, because I don't have the screws, I'm going to put a couple more screws with some nylon lock nuts on the inside to attach this to that, which will give it more rigidity, because this supports the weight of the step and whoever's getting in here. So with that screwed in here, that screwed there, and then the bottom welded, that'll be really strong. So that was my theory behind it. The other reason, I could have put some square tubing across here, and I opted not to for two reasons. Number one, I would have had to notch this, and you would have saw that, and I thought it would have looked ugly. Number two, the other option was to use a piece of angle iron there, which I could have notched the angle iron so that you wouldn't have had a cosmetic issue, but then it would have created a little bit of like a scoop here. Any salt, road gunk, mud, whatever can build up inside of here, and I didn't want that. I wanted to try to let it wash out as easy as possible. So anyway, here's the welds. They're not the prettiest things in the world. I'm still new at TIG welding aluminum. It works. It's a good weld. It's ugly, but it's good. I'm going to grind this one down a little bit. I've got to grind this stuff smooth before I attach this one and get it on there. And that's it. So anyways, thanks for watching. I know this is a long video. I'm going to try to edit it down. I'm doing my best to keep the videos down and try to bring you guys one video per project. So anyway, subscribe, comment, like. I need to wrap this up, get it in the truck so I can go to bed. If you guys are interested in any of the machines I used in this video, check out the description. There'll be links to Amazon. If you choose to purchase these machines on Amazon, it does help me because I'm an Amazon affiliate. If you purchase anything after clicking on those links within 24 hours, it helps me out. Doesn't do anything on your end. You won't even notice it. Doesn't charge you extra. You know, you still get the same Amazon stuff. They just, being an affiliate, it gives me a little bit of a percentage of like a commission type thing if you guys purchase anything after clicking on my links. So anyways, click on those links, check the stuff out on Amazon, buy something, I don't care what it is. Help me out. Talk to you guys later.